Begun at the start of the 12th century and finished just under 300 years later, Exeter Cathedral is bursting with incredible things to see. Oldest of all is the pair of square Norman Romanesque towers flanking the nave. The absence of a central tower at the cathedral has created the longest unbroken medieval vaulted ceiling in the world, at just under 100 meters. Eagle-eyed visitors can make out more than 400 bosses in the vault, adorned with decorative patterns or historical scenes like the murder of Thomas Becket. Produced in 1360, the Minstrel's Gallery in the nave has 12 angels in niches, each playing a different musical instrument. The astronomical clock meanwhile has a lower face from 1484 with a 24-hour dial, while the upper face from 1760 counts the minutes. Finally, the astonishing 13th century misericords in the choir are the oldest complete set in the UK, and feature the oldest known depiction of an elephant in the country. In 2011, this museum dating back 1868 was reopened to wide acclaim following a £24 million refurbishment. The Royal Albert Memorial Museum was conceived as a practical memorial to Queen Victoria's husband Prince Albert, and was housed in a very ornate Gothic Revival building. It's a diverse attraction, with collections in world cultures, natural history, zoology, prehistory, antiquities and art. For just a quick summary of the art collection, there are works by Thomas Gainsborough, John Nash and Barbara Hepworth. You can inspect the cabinets from the study of Victorian biologist Percy Sladen, who amassed one of the largest single collections of echinoderms, sea stars, sand dollars and sea urchins. Some of the many other highlights are medieval building fragments, Japanese samurai armor, the 14th century Exeter puzzle jug and a wall coated with prehistoric hand axes and spearheads. The historic quayside on the Exe and the Exeter Ship Canal is one of the prettiest scenes in the city. In the warmer months there's something going on most days, like the annual 10K run or outdoor concerts, while the pubs, restaurants and cafes have tables next to the water. There has been a port of some description here since prehistory, and behind the cobblestone road are old cellars, 17th and 18th century warehouses and the custom house. This is the oldest brick building in Exeter, dating to the start of the 1680s and easy to notice for its quoins and pediment, and the cannons out front. You can cross the Exe on the manually operated Butts Ferry, which has been here since 2005 on a crossing used since 1641. There are also canoes or bikes for hire on the quayside, so you can head off and see where your curiosity takes you. A pillar of civic life in Exeter since medieval times, the Guildhall is still used by the city council for meetings. The Italian Renaissance facade on the High Street, with arcades, Corinthian columns and mullioned windows, comes from 1590. Beneath the arches is where the city stocks used to stand, and the venerable oak door here was carved in 1593. The council chamber, adorned with portraits of former mayors and high stewards, dates to the late 1460s, although it was restored in Victorian times. Lining the walls are wooden panels with the coats of arms of the many former council members, and strange beasts have been carved into the corbels in the beamed ceiling. Under the hall is a vaulted cellar used as a dungeon and once known as the Pit of the Guildhall. Tracing Cathedral Green to the north and east is Cathedral Close, which has been at the very heart of Exeter since Roman times when it had a basilica and baths. The way is lined with Grade 1 listed buildings from medieval times and the early modern age, and these housed clergy, canons and cathedral officials like the Chancellor. Looked out for the half-timbered houses at Nos. 7, 8 and 9A, while St. Patrick's Church and St. Martin's Church deserve a peek if open. A real eye-catcher is Mole's Coffee House from 1596, with a gable, wooden balcony and pairs of bay windows. On the second floor you can see royal coat of arms from the 16th century. The stucco-fronted Royal Clarence is from 1769 and is the oldest building in England to be described as a hotel, although much older medieval houses were integrated in the construction. There's a burrow of passages under Exeter, excavated in medieval times to bring drinking water to the city. The water traveled through lead pipes, and to make them easier to maintain and avoid digging up the city, the pipes were kept in large vaults. You can put on a hard hat and head underground to see these tunnels for yourself, where you'll find centuries-old masons' marks and graffiti. Before the guided tour you'll visit the Heritage Center, which has pieces of the old lead pipe in a glass case and interactive displays on topics like hydraulics. Next to the faint vestiges of Rougemont Castle is a park along the stronghold's 950-year-old ditch defenses. The castle was built on the northern walls of the Roman city in 1068 during the Norman conquest. Later it was mentioned in Shakespeare's Richard III, and the last people in England to be executed for witchcraft were tried at this building in 1682. The largest fragment is the square early Norman gatehouse. The park is bounded to the northwest by a piece of the city wall, and beyond this you'll come to Northern Gardens. First designed in 1612 as a pleasure walk for the people of the city, Northern Gardens is the oldest public open space in England. At the Streatham campus of the University of Exeter is a free museum about the history of the moving image. Named after the Scottish director Bill Douglas, the museum is an Aladdin's cave for fans of cinema, full of curios like magic lanterns, shadow puppets, posters, early cameras, movie magazines from the silent era, vintage cinema signs, hand panorama reels, wax phonograph cylinders, flip books and a great deal more. You can browse all kinds of authentic memorabilia spanning the history of Hollywood, from Charlie Chaplin to Buzz Lightyear. For a quick diversion, Parliament Street, branching off the High Street and a short walk from the Cathedral Yard, is one of the narrowest streets in the world. Measuring 63.5 centimeters across at its narrowest point, this street was first set out in the 1300s. Its former name was Small Lane, and in the 19th century it was given its much grander title in irony as a protest against the Reform Act of 1832, which transformed the UK's electoral system. Head south from Exeter and you'll soon be in a mosaic of woodland known as the Haldon Forest. There are over 3,500 hectares of pine and hardwood forest, all on elevated ground along a ridge between the River Tyne and the Exe estuary. The Forestry Commission maintains a web of walking paths and bike trails, and you can hire a pair of wheels at the hub, near the ranger's office. There's also a cafe, a high ropes course, an activity trail for kids, while children can also download the Snark Hunter, for all kinds of interactive outdoor games inspired by the Lewis Carroll character the Snark.